है वो तीनों गुणों से परे है, और वो जो है वो सबसे इसीलिए मटेरियल एनर्जी से ऊपर है, और वो तीनों गुणों से ऊपर है, इसलिए जो है वो सब में होते हुए भी वो उपद्रष्टा है, भोक्ता है, मतलब विटनेस है, और हमारा भरण पोषण भी करते हैं, सब कुछ करते हुए भी वो इसीलिए डिटैच्ड है, क्योंकि वो मटेरियल एनर्जी उनके अधीन है, वो उससे ऊपर है। तो ये मेरे को समझ में आया। और हम
आप कौन
तटस्था
से वर्सेस की बात कर रहे हो?
8 9 10, 8 9 10 में जो था, उसमें मैंने जो नोट्स में लिखा था वो ये था, जब डिस्कस हुआ था 9.8 में ये डिस्कस हुआ था, तो वो मैंने लिखा था।
ओके, थैंक यू। सो briefly to summarize, in 9.7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is when Krishna is clearly coming out and saying, I am the Supreme. Isse pehle, he has been indirectly alluding to a more supreme person than Gyan Yoga, than Dhyan Yoga, than Karma Yoga. But now finally, he was speaking about bhakti, and now he's directly saying that he is the source of bhakti yoga. So very openly he's saying that this whole cosmic order is under me, and under my will it is created, and under my will only it is destroyed. Yet people still feel that Krishna is just an ordinary person, or he's just one of the Devi Devtas. Moreover, he's saying he has created this world, but the rules and regulations of this world do not apply to him. Oh Dhananjay, this work cannot bind me. This work of creating this world and destroying this world again and again doesn't bind him. He does not get any karmic reaction for that, because he is detached from all of these activities as if he is neutral, which he is. And then in the 10th verse, he's saying that this world, which is governed by Maya, who is one of my energies, is ultimately working under my direction. So if she is creating and annihilating, it is under my direction, my instructions, where it is being done again and again. So very clearly, he's saying that I am the source of all that is. And now, after declaring this, he comes to the audience who has been hearing this so far, which is this next verse, 9.11. That what kind of audience who hears these verses, or who hears this fact about him, based on their reaction, they are categorized into their destination. So let's chant verse 9.11. Who wants to chant after me? Yes, Vinti. Okay. Thank you. Avjananti mamudha
Abjananti mamudha
manushim tanumashritam
manushim tanu ashritam
param bhavam ajananto
param bhavam ajananto
mama bhuta maheshwaram.
mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me and I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord, Lord of all that be.
Okay. Avjananti mamudha. So, what is jananti?
To know.
To know. Okay. Ajananti?
Not know.
Not to know. Simple common sense. And avjananti?
They think that this is what, I mean, they are illusioned by it, probably something like that.
Yes. See, as Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is common sense. Jananti, to know. Avajananti, not to know. Sorry, na jananti, to not know. Avajananti, to know the wrong thing. Which also you can say to be misled, which is far more dangerous. And therefore they are called, he's saying, ma mudha. They are fools. The avajananti, the ones who are misled, who know the wrong thing. And hence, they will also be preaching the wrong thing. And they will also be living the wrong thing. So, the personality of Godhead who creates, maintains, and annihilates. Can he really be a small person? अगर इतना clearly Krishna कह रहे हैं that I am the one who creates, who maintains, and who also destroys, how can he be just a... And he's not talking about creating, maintaining, and destroying India, by the way. He's talking about creating the galaxy, creating the universe, the millions of universes, maintaining the millions of universes, and then destroying the millions of universes. And he would just be a historical figure? I mean, common sense really belies that. He cannot be a human being. He cannot be an ordinary person. Yet so many mudhas, foolish men, consider Krishna to be just a powerful man or a historical figure and nothing more. Mahapurush bolte hain kai log to. So there are many Ishwars. Ishwar means, what is the Sanskrit meaning of Ishwar?
It's written here, controllers.
Ishwar means controller. Yes. So there are many Ishwars. We are also Ishwars to some extent. We are able to control to some extent what goes on in our house, how we will lead our life, what we will do. So we are all Ishwars in our own way. But are we the supreme Ishwars, the supreme controllers? No. So above all these Ishwars, there is a Param Ishwar, the controller of the controllers. That Param Ishwar is Krishna, जिसमें सारे देवी देवता भी आ गए. But so one Ishwar can be controlled by another Ishwar. One controller can be controlled by another controller, but that does not apply to the supreme controller. Nobody can control the supreme controller, but the supreme controller can control the other Ishwars, the other controllers. This is confirmed in the language, Vedic language also, as Sat Chit Anand Vigraha. I offer my obeisances to the Supreme Lord Krishna, who is Sat, Chit, and Anand. There are other descriptions also. Tam ekam Govindam. You are Govind. Tam ekam. The pleasure of the senses and the cows. Govind. Go means cows. And go also means senses. Go Swami. Kehte hai na? Go matlab Swami. He who is the Swami of his senses is a Goswami. And go also means cows. So he, Vind, who is the pleasure giver to the senses and to the cows, is the supreme controller, Govind. Despite the transcendental qualities of Krishna's body, so many scholars and commentators of the Bhagwad Gita still deride Krishna as an ordinary man. You know, the scholar may be born an extraordinary man due to his previous good work, but this conception of Krishna is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Therefore, he is called Mudha. Only foolish people will consider Krishna to be an ordinary human being, despite so much evidence, so much common sense. And Mudhas do this because they do not know about the confidential activities of Krishna and his energies. They do not know, or they have not tried to know. They don't know that Krishna's body is a symbol of complete knowledge and bliss. And since he is the owner and the proprietor of everything and everyone, he can even award liberation to everyone. And therefore, they consider him, they deride him, which means they consider him to be an ordinary person. कृष्ण के आने से पहले डिक्लेयर हो गया था कि वो किस कुल में जन्म लेंगे, किस घर में जन्म लेंगे, कौन से माता पिता होंगे. He decides everything before he comes. Not only that, before his arrival, he sends his ministers or, his loved ones to take birth and be ready to receive him, do all the groundwork. Are we in a position to do any of that? Can we even choose where we will be born, to whom, which parents? Can we choose whether we want to be born as a male or female, anything at all? Yet we somehow have this feeling that I am God and I'll merge into God. And Krishna, who did all of these things, is just an ordinary person. Therefore, Krishna is telling them, Avajananti mam mudha, fools deride me when I descend in the human form, just because he took a form that looks like us, or rather gave us a form who looks like him. As the Bible says, man was made in the image of God. Not that God is made in the image of man. God ने कॉपी कर लिया हमें. हम तो अपनी बॉडी खुद ही डिजाइन करके आए थे. So, Mama Maya Duratyaya. So many times he has said this. That he claims that the material energy, although very powerful under his control, and whoever surrenders unto him can get out of the control of this material energy. So this conception of Krishna is complete foolishness. And foolish persons cannot conceive that Krishna or the Supreme Lord can appear as an ordinary person also. Why not? The king of a kingdom, if he decides today I want to have lunch in the house of a commoner, can he not do that? Or just because he enters that house and the people of that village will say, oh, because he has come to this simple Brahman's house, this means he must be belonging to his family only. Yes, कि कोई दूर के रिश्तेदार होंगे, इसलिए उनके घर आए आज, देखो उन्हीं की तरह नीचे बैठ के खा रहे हैं, ये राजा थोड़ी हुए. This is exactly what the Buddhas are doing. Oh, he looks like us, he's doing things like us, okay, then he's just one of us, or we are equal to him. That's worse. Avajananti. That's worse. So they cannot imagine that a form like that of a human being can control the infinite and the minute both. So, Avjananti Mamudha Manushim Tanumashritam. Manushim Gaurang Darshan Das has given a very nice. When I descend in the human form, Manushim Tanum Ashritam Param Bhavam Ajananto. Param Bhavam Ajananto. They do not know. What? Param Bhavam, about my Param Bhav, my transcendental nature, my supreme nature. Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. Maheshwar, Supreme Lord. Mama Bhuta, I am the proprietor, as the Supreme Lord of everything. So Prabhupada says, if you come to the next page of his purport, he says that there are many controversies between personalists and personalists, Mayavadis and Vaishnavas, about the Lord's appearance as a human being. But if you consult the Gita and the Bhagavatam, which are authoritative scriptures, then we can understand there is no illusion, no doubt that Krishna is the Supreme. He is not an ordinary person. Where in the Bhagavatam, first canto, it is said, Kritvan Kila Karmani Saha Ramena Keshavaha Ati Martyani Bhagavan Gudha Kapata Manushaha. Gudha Kapata Manushaha. Lord Sri Krishna the Supreme, along with Balaram, played like a human being. And so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. Please excuse me, I'll just come. So from this paragraph, after this verse, Kritvan Kila Karmani, please read the purport. Maybe one of you who wants to read.
Shall I read, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Himanjali, please.
Lord Shri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so, masked, he performed many superhuman acts. The Lord's appearance as a man bewilders the foolish. No human being could perform the wonderful acts that Krishna performed while he was present on this earth. When Krishna appeared before his father and mother, Vasudev and Devaki, he appeared with 4 hands, but after the prayers of the parents, he transformed himself into the ordinary child. As stated in the Bhagavatam, Babhuva Prakritah Shishu, he becomes just like an ordinary child, an ordinary human being. Now, here again, it is indicated that the Lord's appearance as an ordinary human being is one of the features of his transcendental body. In the 11th chapter of Bhagwad Gita, also it is stated that Arjun prayed to see Krishna's form of 4 hands. After revealing this form, Krishna, when petitioned by Arjun, again assumed his original human-like form, Manusham Rupam. These different features of the Supreme Lord are certainly not those of an ordinary human being. Some of those who deride Krishna and who are infected with the Mayavadi philosophy quote the following words from the Srimad Bhagavatam to prove that Krishna is just an ordinary man. Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vashishtah sada. The Supreme is present in every living entity. We should better take note of this particular verse from the Vaishnava Acharyas like Jiva Goswami and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, instead of following the interpretation of unauthorized persons who deride Krishna. Jiva Goswami, commenting on this verse, says that Krishna is the plenary expansion of Paramatma, is situated in the moving and non-moving entities as a supersoul. So, any neophyte devotee who simply gives his attention to the Archamurti, the form of Supreme Lord in the temple, and does not respect other living entities is uselessly worshipping the form of the Lord in the temple. There are 3 kinds of devotees of the Lord, and the neophyte is in the lowest stage. The neophyte devotee gives more attention to the deity in the temple than other devotees. So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur warns that this sort of mentality should be corrected. A devotee should see that because Krishna is the present in everyone's heart as Paramatma, everybody is the embodiment or the temple of the Supreme. Every body is the embodiment or the temple of the Supreme Lord. So, as one offers respect to the temple of the Lord, he should similarly properly respect each and every body in which the Paramatma dwells. Everyone should therefore be given proper respect and should not be neglected. There are also many impersonalists who deride temple worship. They say that since God is everywhere, why should we restrict himself to temple worship? But if God is everywhere, is he not in the temple or in the deity? Although the personalists and the impersonalists will fight with one another perpetually. A perfect devotee in Krishna consciousness knows that although Krishna is the Supreme Personality, he is all pervading as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita. Although his personal abode of Golok Vrindavan and he is always staying there by his different manifestations of energy and by his plenary expansions, he is present everywhere in all parts of the material and spiritual creation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So, what is the conclusion here? Any ideas what you've understood? 11th and 12th are actually a combination. The next verse concludes what he's saying in this verse. Yes, Himangini, you were saying something.
No, Mataji, go ahead. I was just saying that Prabhupada is saying here that whether Mayavadis and the neophyte devotee or other, they are fighting whether Krishna is there or in the deity form or no. But the Krishna conscious devotee will always know that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it's better to go as fast as possible into Krishna consciousness and know Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead, and not only to worship his deity form, but also to make all, and also to do serve Vaishnavas. That's what Krishna is expecting from all of us.
Yes, yes. So, that's the third class devotee who feels that Bhagwan मंदिर में मिलेंगे, धाम में मिलेंगे, चलो हो आते हैं कहीं पे. But as you progress in your practice of devotional service and your practice of bhakti, भगवान से भक्त बड़ा. That understanding will gradually come to you. That the Lord is not so cheap that you can directly go and meet him or approach him or even serve him. But if you want him to, if you want to catch his attention or you want him to notice you, then you try to serve and please those who are already serving and pleasing him. Then he takes notice. That's a more mature and advanced way of understanding God. So, Mayavadi philosophy is nowhere even near this concept, which he will conclude in the next verse. So, let's read the next verse. Somebody can repeat after me. Moghasha mogha karmano. Yes,
Hare
Vinti.
Krishna, Mataji.
Okay. Oh, Vinti.
No, Vinti
I think
Mataji, please.
Vinti tried to do that last time also.
No, please. Let's Vinti Mata. Let Vinti Mataji do.
Yeah.
Moghasha mogha karmano.
Mogha jnana vichetasaha.
Mogha jnana vichetasaha.
Rakshashe masurim chaiva.
Rakshasi masurim chaiva.
Prakriti mohinim shritaha.
Prakriti mohini mishrita. Hare Krishna Mataji. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated.
Defeated. So, there are three words that are being used here. Moghasha, Mogha Karmano, Mogha Jnana. And all of them, Mogh means confused, bewildered, misled, demoniac, atheistic. Many synonyms can be given to this word Mogh. And three kinds of Mogh are mentioned here. Moghasha, Mogh Karmano, and Mogh Jnana. So, I'll quickly read the purport. There are many devotees who assume themselves to be in Krishna consciousness and bhakti. Be careful, this applies to all of us. But at heart, they don't expect Krishna. They don't accept Krishna to be the supreme. For them, the fruit of devotional service, going back to Godhead, will never be tasted. Similarly, those who are engaged in fruitive pious activities and who are ultimately hoping to be liberated from this material entanglement will never be successful either. Because they deride Krishna. In other words, people who mock Krishna are to be understood to be demoniac or atheistic. Such demoniac miscreants never surrender to Krishna. Therefore, their mental speculations to arrive at the absolute truth always bring them to a wrong conclusion or a false conclusion that the ordinary living entity and Krishna are one and the same. And with such a false conviction, they think that the body of any human being is now simply covered by Maya. And as soon as they are liberated from this body, there is no difference between God and himself. Immediately they become God or they merge into him. This attempt to become one with Krishna baffles them. Such atheistic and demoniac cultivation is always futile. That is the indication of this verse. For such persons, the cultivation of knowledge, like the Vedanta Sutra and the Upanishads, is baffling, which means instead of giving them any clarity, it confuses them more and more. And it's a great offense, therefore, to consider Krishna to be an ordinary man, which also includes considering him an ordinary devata. Those who do so are certainly deluded because they cannot understand the eternal form of Krishna. Like one who considers the body of Krishna to be material should be driven out from all rituals and activities of the Shruti and the Smriti. And if one by chance sees his face, one should at once take bath in the Ganga to rid himself of infection. People jeer at Krishna because they are envious of him. Their destiny is certainly to take birth after birth in the species of atheistic and demoniac life. Perpetually, their real knowledge will remain under delusion, and gradually they will regress to the darkest regions of creation. There are so many kinds of hells. So many kinds of hells in the Patal Lok. Aurora, Maharora, it's ghastly descriptions, and such people will step by step fall deeper and deeper into those hellish slavets. So, Moghasha is those who are confused in their hopes for attaining the Lord's abode. Even if we are talking about devotees, there are so many devotees also who can be considered Moghasha. So, Moghasha simply means that they are looking for, at best, liberation. And what is this kind of liberation? Salokya Mukti. That at best, they want to achieve the same lok as the Supreme Lord, Salokya. But they will also be baffled in their hopes for attaining the Lord's abode. This is one. This applies to non-devotees and devotees both. The next two apply to non-devotees. Mogh Karmano. Mogh again is baffled, confused. Karmano means those who are karmis, who believe that karma hi jivan hai. And they are baffled in their fruitive activities and the results of attaining heaven or swarg. At best, they can think कि हम पुण्य कर्म करेंगे और स्वर्ग लोक जाएंगे. Such people are called mogha karmano. Again, they are baffled. And the third is mogha jnana. Those who do not attain the results of cultivating knowledge. So jnanis, mayavadis, speculators, all of them come in this. They are called mogha jnana. Vichetasaha. They are all confused, deluded by Maya. And so they have lost the discriminating power. Why have they lost that power? Because they considered the sin of rejecting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Automatically, their understanding, their intelligence gets covered. Mogha Jnani, Mogha Karmano, and Mogha Sham. 3 people. आगे क्या बोलते हैं? Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva. So, if they're not attracted here, where else will they get attracted? Because attraction there must be. Everybody is doing every act in this world or even outside this world eternally to achieve something, for some goal, for some gain. Nobody does anything without a purpose in mind, which even applies to Jad and Chetan. Even a cheetah, you will never see ants or even any crawling animals moving aimlessly around. Their goal is to reach food. You know, कहते हैं ना चींटी को कहाँ से खुशबू आ जाती है कि कहीं मीठा पड़ा है, and they would not be around and they will climb from the first floor to the 14th floor and reach that place where the sweet is kept. Although you may just notice, देखने में ऐसे लगेगा that they are just walking mindlessly, एक के पीछे एक दूसरे के साथ head bang करते हुए जा रहे हैं, they don't even know where they are going, but no, they're doing it for the single point purpose of collecting food. So all those who are attracted by these demoniac and atheistic views that they are holding in this lifetime, Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva, they will be attracted by, if not Maya, if not Krishna, then they will be attracted by Maya. And Maya is simply atheism. Prakritim Mohinim Shritaha. They take Mohinim Shritaha. Shritaha, they take ashray, they take shelter. Of whom? Prakritim. Who is Prakriti? The material energy. Mohinim, who confuses, bewilders, and is an illusory energy. So, if you do not serve Krishna, then you will naturally, automatically, unknowingly serve Maya. There's nothing you can do about it. Hence, Krishna is saying, let me read verse 11 again. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form, because they do not know my spiritual, transcendental nature as the Supreme Lord of all that be. Avajananti. Here he talks about those Muda, foolish men. And the next verse he says, those who are thus bewildered are attracted by. So in the previous verse he's saying that these kind of fools who deride me in the human form, in the next verse he says what is their destination? They are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. Since they are not attracted to Krishna, automatically they are attracted to Mayavad. And in that condition, their hopes for liberation, because ultimately they also have hopes, their fruitive activities and their culture of knowledge, all three will yield no result. चाहे वो ज्ञानी बन जाए, चाहे वो कर्मी बन जाए of the highest order, कर्म योग करें या ज्ञान योग करें या ध्यान योग कर लें, तीनों ही योग अगर वो कर ले तब भी they will be defeated. because they are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. So Chaitanya Charandas gives a very interesting question, a thought. He says that these verses, even as you can see in the 10th verse, just before the verse that we did, Maya Dhakshena Prakriti. My Adhyakshen. Adhyakshen means in my jurisdiction. In my jurisdiction. Prakriti. This material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all living and non-living things. And under its rule, this world, this manifestation, this universe is created and destroyed again and again. And people who do not consider me to be the source of everything are mudras. And those who are bewildered by such demoniac and atheistic views, their hopes for liberation, karma yoga, dhyan yoga, will always be defeated. They will not reach any conclusion. And they will suffer. And from this highest facility of human life, they will degrade to lower and lower types of life, where it is impossible to seek knowledge. So some readers may find this declaration very similar to हम सब इंडिया में रहते हैं, हम सब ने ये सुना है, पत्ता भी उसकी रजा से नहीं हिलता, फिर भी कहते हैं बंदा गुनहगार है, गालिब ने चुराया ये हमारा. So मतलब not a blade of grass also moves without God's will. So then why is he punishing us? If I have committed a murder also, it's because of him. If I have told a lie also, it's because of him. Then nothing moves without his will. What's my fault then? Isn't it? We've asked this question. Many people have asked us this question. We have asked this question ourselves many times. And what is the answer to that? Any ideas? This means दुर्योधन ने जो किया वो भी कृष्णा की विल थी, वो भी कृष्णा ने करवाया. Then why Krishna wanted Arjun to fight against Duryodhan? सभी कुछ तो मयि अध्यक्षेण. Yes, Viripama.
यस माता जी, कृष्णा ने सबको एक फ्री विल दी है, उसको हम कैसे यूज करते हैं उसी पे डिपेंड करता है सब कुछ ना. तो इसलिए हम कृष्णा को ब्लेम नहीं कर सकते, ये हमारी फ्री विल है जो हम कैसे यूज कर रहे हैं उसको ना.
Nice, very nicely put. Yes. Thank you. Anybody else who wants to add to this? Yes, Imani.
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji. Krishna has nothing to do with our activities, I think. So, because we have come with our own choice, because we don't want to serve Krishna, तो हम इस मृत्यु लोक में आए हैं. So, our prarabdhas and our जो इस बॉडी में किए हैं कर्म, उसके फल भुगतने के लिए हम यहाँ पे आए हुए हैं. So, Krishna has nothing to do with our karmas, I think.
Yes, that's true. Thank you, Hemangini. Radha. Anybody else? It's our karma that affects.
I would refer to 8, Shloka 8, because here he is saying the same thing. The whole cosmic order is under me, under my will. And then in purport, it was explained that that is, there is a word indicated. It is avasham. That living entities have nothing to do with this process. That is, they, in their past life, whatever they had done, they will get the fruits according to that.
Okay, so past life में भी कैसे किया उन्होंने?
And after creating the species of life, once he has created, then he doesn't interfere. He is just the witness. He is just the updrashta. So after creating, then he gets, like, he just sees that as a super soul inside, and he doesn't interfere. That is the free will that he has given. And hamara bharan poshan etc. he supports us, but he doesn't interfere in that free will. He leaves it.
Yeah, thank you, Binti. So if you really want to understand it in a very simple form, the government has given us freedom to buy any car of our choice. You can buy from wherever you want, whatever kind of car you want, and you can choose how many ever cars you want. There is no restriction. We have freedom for that. But so we have the freedom to do all of that, which fools us into believing, oh, I'm free. I'm free to do what I want. But the government controls the speed of your car. And if you overspeed, not only are you challan, your vehicle can be impounded. There's so many things that can be done. On top of that, you also have to pay a tax, the road tax, to use the car on. So, this is the way Krishna illustrates the same principle like a wind and sky metaphor. You know, like the sky is like an upside down bowl. एक कटोरा है, उल्टा कटोरा, उसके अंदर sky है. And that is Krishna's jurisdiction. He has created that. And उसके नीचे जो हवा बह रही है, हवा किसी भी तरह बह सकती है उस sky के नीचे. North, south, east, west, northeast, north, south. There are 10 directions, or maybe 64 directions. The wind is free to move at whatever speed it wants, in whichever direction, wherever it wants. But Krishna controls the sky, limits the area of the wind. It cannot go beyond the sky. That area, that control is there. Try as that might, uske andar, us controlled environment mein, jurisdiction mein, the wind can do whatever it wants. So that sky is Krishna's jurisdiction. The wind is our free will. So Krishna controls the scope of our free will, but not our free will itself. He gives you a broad scope. These are the two parallel lines of dharam and adharam. And in between is a huge ocean. Choose whichever way you want to go. But you cannot go beyond dharam and adharam. Iske beech mein hi reh sakte ho aap. Try as you might, you can't. And then there are consequences as well, which all of us have experienced, that we put so much of effort, we do so much of planning, yet things don't go our way. They somehow go in some other way only, despite our intelligence, our best efforts, all our manipulation, politics, whatever we may do. This is the difference between Krishna's will and free will. I think the car example is very... So when people are doing evil things, we can't say that they are doing God's will. Duryodhan was not doing God's will. They are doing their own will because they are being allowed by God within limits to do their own will. But when it crosses the limits, then Krishna comes to wage a Kurukshetra war, to put things in order. Yada yada hi dharmasya. When you try to cross those boundaries that he controls, then he comes or sends his messenger. He doesn't really have to come. That is also a preliminary understanding. Krishna, just by his glance, if he can create universes, he doesn't even have to get up. Today in the Bhagavatam lecture, I was hearing that Garbhodaksha, Kshirodaksha Vishnu is sleeping. Sara time sote hi rehte, so ke create kar rahe universes. All the time he's lying on a bed on the ocean, on the Garbhodak ocean. Imagine अगर सो के इतने complicated universes create, maintain और annihilate कर रहे हैं, तो उड़ जाएंगे तो क्या होगा? मतलब उनके बाएं हाथ का खेल है कि वो नींद में जिस एक आईब्रो खोली, उन्होंने एक आंख जरा सी खोली और इतना कुछ क्रिएट हो गया. He doesn't really have to come to kill the miscreants. So why does he really come then?
For his devotees, he comes.
Paritranaya sadhunam.
Yes. The mother comes to see her children, to play with her children, to interact with them, to please her devotees. For him, he will do anything. For the child, the mother will do anything. She's not very bothered about the miscreants. Maya will take care of the miscreants. Krishna is not even bothered. He says, my Maya only is strong. Wo bhi in a female form. She is only enough to take care of you. Mujhe to aane ki bhi zarurat nahi hai. But he comes for his devotees. To exchange love with them. So this is the correct understanding of everything is under the control of Krishna, yet there is free will. Clear? Anything you want to share, say? These are very big purports. If you can see, Prabhupada has given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 5.5 pages of purport for these 2 verses alone. 11th verse, he has written a lot. No? Because Mogha Karmano, Mogha Gyan and Mogha Sha. So, there is enough evidence in these purports to establish the supremacy of the Lord on Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And also the destination of Karma Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Gyan Yoga. And also what is the destination for Muras and the definition of Muras. Okay, we'll stop here for today. Any questions? Any realizations? Anything you want to add?
I just want to ask something. We say going back to Godhead,
Yes.
and फिर सालोक्य भी वो मतलब सालोक्य भी उतना वो नहीं माना जाता. जब हम वो शुद्ध भक्ति is like neither the desire for salok nor sayoj, nothing. So then going back to Godhead is not Shuddh Bhakti.
Baffled, Moghasha means baffled in their hopes for attaining the Lord's abode. Or Salokya Mukti if they are Bhaktas. So there are 5 kinds of liberations. We know that. Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya, Sarshti, and Sayujya. Out of these, yes, this is our the highest goal, that we want to go back home, back to Godhead. But what he's trying to say here is, he's given examples of theists and atheists both. The primary condition is to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead first. So I want to go back to Vaikunt, thinking that Krishna is a demigod or a devata. So what kind of salokya is that? And will it even take you there? Are you getting the point? What exactly is moksha or liberation or going back home, back to Godhead? First of all, devotees do reject moksha because devotees are only interested in serving the Lord. They just want service. So, and they unconditionally, equivocally, and wholeheartedly surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, accepting him to be the avatari, the source of all avatars. So unless you are at that position, or your consciousness is, your heart is coming from there, what kind of liberation are we really talking about? Does that answer your question, Vinti?
That is what actually going back to Godhead is then not of that level. If we are if we have a desire, if we automatically go by virtue of being a Shuddh Bhakt, अगर शुद्ध भक्त मतलब बिना इच्छा के किया जाए तो वो तो ऑटोमेटिकली वो वहां पे जब इच्छा नहीं रहती तभी वहां पहुंचते हैं. दिस इज व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड. जब कोई इच्छा नहीं रहती एक्सेप्ट सर्विंग द लॉर्ड, तब वहां पहुंचते हैं. तो फिर इच्छा रखना वहां जाने की, व्हाट विल दैट बी?
नहीं, इच्छा होनी चाहिए. बिना इच्छा you cannot reach anywhere. There has to be a goal, and then only you will work towards the goal. Therefore, he says in the Bhagavad Gita himself that only the intelligent take to Krishna consciousness, and intelligent people always work with a goal in mind. It's not that we are working for some selfless reason. No, we want to do something. We want to get some result.
हाँ, वो
Definitely वो होना चाहिए. वो तो होना ही चाहिए. वो होना ही चाहिए. Otherwise, what is the whole point of doing whatever we are doing? Yes, you should aim for liberation. Again, we are trying to go back home, back to Godhead, to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in either of these capacities, according to our natural taste or tendency, which could be any of these. Either we want to reside in the same lok as him and serve him. There is service there. The Vaikuntha is not free of service. But the mood there is of Aishwarya Bhav, that he's a king and you are forever in a servient, subservient position.
Das and das.
But in Golok, there is no such. The mood in Golok is very different. There is that's a personal relationship with the Lord. So somebody could maybe want Samipya, Mukti. Somebody wants the same opulence as the Lord. All of these people go according to their mood and consciousness, they go to those destinations. One should have that. There's nothing wrong in that. Nobody is denying that. But the devotees of the Lord are more attracted to his personal form. For example, supposing we are all Modi fans. We are in awe and reverence. And we go to Rashtrapati Bhavan or the parliament to meet him. There is a certain way that we will go there, a certain decorum, the certain way we will be dressed, the certain way that we will address him, speak to him, sit, stand. You get it? If all of us are just by chance invited, let's all go and meet the Prime Minister. We're getting some. Ek to wo hai. And then, again, the same group, all of us are somehow invited to his house for lunch. तब हमारा मूड कैसा होगा? या उन्होंने अपने घर कोई से भजन कीर्तन रखा है, फंक्शन रखा है, अपने किसी पूर्वज, अपने किसी रिश्तेदार की शादी रखी है, तब हम कैसे जाएंगे? And how will we see Modi there? In what avatar? He will not be doing yes sir, this sir, that. If he's dancing, we'll be dancing with him. If he's singing, we will also be clapping and singing with him. Dancing around him, holding his hand also and dancing in a circle. Kuch bhi ho sakta hai. Home front mein atmosphere is different. Office front mein atmosphere is different. So that entirely depends on the mood or the consciousness of the bhakta, what he's aspiring for. But the underlying form is, if you do not know his transcendental nature, that he's the Supreme Lord and the proprietor of all that be, which is the case even in Sanatan Dharam, today in Hindu Dharam. How many people know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? How many of us knew? Forget how many people know. How many of us knew that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Did one of us know that he is the Supreme?
हाँ, earlier हमारा ये था कि हाँ, कृष्ण जैसे पहले उल्टा था कि विष्णु के अवतार है कृष्ण, राम.
Exactly.
हाँ, ऐसे ये सब था पहले.
And Vishnu is the same as Mahesh, is the same as Ganpati, is the same as Durga, is the same as this, is the same as that. Correct?
ब्रह्म संहिता का वो पूरा सुनने के बाद समझ में आया exactly what is the position.
That's the point.
After listening to यहाँ इसमें आने के बाद कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस.
अब हम अगर ये नहीं पढ़ रहे होते प्रभुपाद की भगवद गीता और हम भक्ति कर रहे हैं जैसे हमने सुनी है, which is being handed down to us from a broken tradition of family and broken tradition of, because systematic तो नहीं आई जब से गुरुकुल नष्ट हो गए, तो वो जैसे भी अनसिस्टमैटिक फॉर्म तक हमारे पास आई थ्रू फैमिली ट्रेडिशन और कल्चर और समाज और लीनिएज, तो हम भगवान की भक्ति कर रहे होते विद द अंडरस्टैंडिंग दैट ही इज ऑल्सो अ देवों के देव. तो हम कहाँ पहुंचते? उसी की बात कर रहे हैं ये मोघशा. ये तो thank God that we have Prabhupada, so we are able to. Otherwise हम सब मोघशा ही थे हैं, अभी भी बनने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. पूरा फेथ कहाँ है? एक झटका लाइफ में आ गया. Will we really still consider Krishna to be supreme? So many devotees, कोई मेजर कोई चीज हो गई लाइफ में, कोई डेथ हो गई, कोई कैलामिटी हो गई, बिजनेस चौपट हो गया, सब खत्म. को आई डोंट बिलीव इन यू ओनली. मैंने तुम्हारे इतना जप किया, इतनी माला की, दिस हैज हैपेंड, आई एम डाउटिंग नाउ वेदर यू आर द सुप्रीम. So one has to be, we should consider ourselves always neophyte. Always. Then we will guard against the danger of moksha. Does that answer your question?
Now I got the complete understanding. इसका
Yeah. So, Mogha Ashaha. Asha is hope. Mogha is again bewildered, confused, contaminated, misled. Those who are misled in their hopes. So, आप जैसी consciousness के साथ आप उन्हें approach कर रहे हो, वैसी destination मिलेगी. ईश्वर परमः कृष्ण सच्चिदानंद विग्रह अनादिर आदिर गोविंद सर्व कारण कारण. That's the ultimate gist of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So can we have the cameras on so that we can say bye to each other? Okay, Hima's walking.
I'm not
Hari-
walking. I came out to pick up Saish from his class.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our dear Kamal Manjari is going through the trauma of seeing her dog towards the end of his life, and she's praying that he leaves his body because he's very old.